Hey guys, so I'm going to show you how to paint with tints. So a tint is when you add white to any color, and that makes the tint for that color. So if I want to make a tint of blue, I would use blue paint with some white paint, and that makes a blue tint. So you're going to cover your blue paper today with tints of blue, and that's all we're going to use is blue and white paint. But I'm going to give you guys different kinds of paint brushes to create texture on your paper, and texture is what I just talked about on the PowerPoint. It's when you're visually creating something that looks like it feels a certain way. So it can look like it feels smooth, it can look like it feels rough, it can look like it feels bumpy, it can look like it feels hard, or it can look like it feels cold. But we're going to use different kinds of paintbrushes and sponges to create texture, any kind of texture you want. So here's an example of one I just did. So this is just blue and white paint on the paper with different kinds of paintbrushes, and I created a texture, and you can it kind of looks like maybe a waterfall or something. So it creates a texture to make it look like it feels kind of maybe like a waterfall or water. And then this texture with blue tint looks kind of smooth, doesn't it? To me it looks kind of smooth. And then this texture looks kind of splotchy, like clouds. And then this texture looks kind of swirly. That looks maybe like clouds or water too, but see, it creates texture. So this is just smooth right here. This doesn't really have texture. But this has texture because we used a paintbrush to apply the paint in different ways. So you're going to have your paint, you're going to have your paint board underneath, you're going to have your paper, you're going to have your paint board under your paper, and you're going to have all these different kinds of brushes. And you're not going to get water because you don't even need to wipe your brush off. And it's okay if you get some blue paint in the white, and it's okay if you get some white paint in the blue, because it's going to happen anyway. So just start however you want. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to use this big brush. So however you want. Dip it in the paint. You can do swirls. I kind of like that. That looks kind of cool. Add some white. You can just do a few strokes. It doesn't have to be a whole lot. I like that. Like I said, it doesn't have to be crazy. I mean, this might be all that you want to do. And I'll give you guys about 3 pieces of paper today for you guys to add texture and white tints. So we're just doing blue and white paint on the paper. And I think I kind of like this. So I'm going to be done. So when you're finished, go put your painting on the drying rack. And then I'll give you another piece of paper. It's going to be blue. And then you're going to do more blue tints on your piece of paper to create texture. Okay, go for it. Oh, and when you're not using these brushes, I'll give you another paint mat. You can just put the brushes on the paint mat. And you don't have to use one brush per painting. You can use more than one brush. So maybe I want to do that. I don't want to mess that up. I like that. So you can use different brushes and just kind of play with different kinds of textures. Okay.